Get ready for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for that. We had a major technical difficulty due to the huge, coronavirus ordeal. Everyone's currently on the internet at where I'm stationed, and it's very difficult to pretty much get anything on internet or anything. So, I apologize for that. I didn't really mean for everything to suddenly jolt out. This is going to be immediately put back up online, so maybe within like a couple minutes of the time that we get this done, it will immediately be uploaded to online. So still tune in this evening to see Allison Harrison. We're going to have her and the true meaning of Christianity, which would be a fun conversation. And go on ahead and tune in for that. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to do the live stream then. I'm going to readjust some things, readjust our internet routers, and we'll go on ahead and be able to do that. So, and then we'll go on ahead and do the giveaway as well at that point. So make sure to tune in. We will be doing a giveaway this evening, whether it kills us or not. So, Mr. Michael, are you still there?
Yes, sir. I am here.
All right, perfect. So going ahead, and I forget where we left off. Everything just kind of suddenly ended.
Sure.
So where did we? I think you were explaining kind of why we started the paper and stuff.
Absolutely. And no, just kidding. We're not experiencing technical difficulties right now. I just have a right
You honestly scared me there.
Hey, technology is great at times, most of the time, but sometimes it can have its downfalls just like everything else. But yeah, the reason we decided to go out and start a new publication, Mountaineer.news, is because, just quite frankly, there's a lot of bias in our local media. There's a lot of discrimination in our area. There's a lot of things going on that's just not reported. And we felt like it was necessary to have an extra voice in our community, a voice that gives a platform to all voices. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian, if you're atheist. We want a platform to bring all opinions together. Our goal here is to have constructive and productive conversations to make our community a better place, not just now, but in the future, for future generations. And we're talking about my children, your children. And just the mudslinging that's been going around in this community, especially toward prominent members of our community, people who actually help individuals, people who go above and beyond what their calling calls them to do. And we just felt that it was necessary to lend a voice to all people, regardless of where you come from, who you were born to, what walk of life you've walked. We're here to try to bring everybody together to have those constructive conversations. And not just mudsling and name call and demean each other just because we don't agree with each other, whether it be, political, religious, what kind of ice cream you prefer. It doesn't matter. We're all human beings. If you don't agree with how somebody lives their life, or if you don't agree with their lifestyle or their religious choices, it's not up to us to judge. That we're all individual human beings. And so seeing that all of this was going out and seeing that you have all of this bias in our supposedly reputable news publication in our city, we decided that we needed that extra voice so we could try to affect change in our city for the better. We don't have to like each other. We don't have to get along with each other, but we certainly don't need to threaten and try to demean everybody just because they don't believe the same way you do. So we're simply just providing a platform, and you'll see on our site, we have Republicans, we have Democrats, we have Libertarian Party, we have everybody from all walks of life coming in and just giving their own views of Buchanan, the world, their religious beliefs, their opinions. It doesn't matter. We're providing everybody a voice who wants to participate. And our main goal is to try to squelch some of the hate that is continually perpetuated by certain individuals in our area.
By the way, whenever it comes to the ice cream flavor, mine is strawberry and Oreos, so cookies and cream. If you don't agree with that, you can go screw yourself.
Yes. I prefer just regular chocolate myself, but that's just me.
You're a sociopath. I don't know how you can do just regular chocolate.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Maybe chocolate with fudge. Anyway, not to go down the road of ice cream here, but one of the biggest things that is on everyone's mind is, and this is the biggest reason why we want to go ahead and do this episode today, was the financing of how we are doing. I mean, how we are. Who's financing us? People are going out there and randomly connecting people with us that have nothing to do with us, and it doesn't make any sense, but they're still trying to connect them with us, and they're just randomly putting us, with these people. So, who is financing the? We're just gonna go ahead and put this out there. Who's financing the Mountaineer News?
Well, first of all, let's just go ahead and say the old adage, whenever you assume something, what does that do?
Absolutely.
It just, typically, if you look at any news publication, any media outlet, typically the publisher is the financial backer. And we have no other partners. I am the publisher co-editor. Daria, you are the co-editor.
Exactly.
And it's something that we decided to do. And I also found it funny. There were a lot of people out there, especially people not even from our area. These people are chiming in from Harrison County, from Lewis County. These people don't even live here, yet they think they have a voice in our city elections. It makes no sense to me. But a lot of people started trying to put the dots together and saying, well, this Michael Moorhead guy, his Facebook says he lives in Morgantown, but yet he has an address here in Buchanan. Well, here's the thing, folks. Facebook isn't my life. It was a simple error. I didn't change my place of residence on Facebook because, quite frankly, I forgot. So for those trying to sleuth out, why is this guy from Morgantown? Yes, I graduated WVU. I lived in Morgantown. So I just never updated my Facebook profile. Facebook just isn't that important to me. And I don't make it a daily part of my life like a lot of people seem to do. So, these assumptions that go out there and people are like, well, who's the financial backer? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? Well, you can very easily go to the Secretary of State's website and do a West Virginia search for a business entity, and you can see exactly who the financial backer is, and that's the publisher. So all of this, they're very good at going out and spreading misinformation, this hate, these lies. If you disagree with anything, even if you disagree that it's daytime and it's actually nighttime, these people will do everything in their power to try to come after you, and they'll try to demean you. They'll try to discredit you. And why? Because we simply have differences of opinion? It makes no sense. But yes, Mountaineer News is actually, the parent company is Mountaineer News Media, LLC. We are a registered limited liability corporation in the state of West Virginia. We registered legally, unlike some people who have been doing this for years and taking other people's money and avoiding taxes.
Michael Moorhead is making kids gay.
Amen, brother. Well, and that's just it. You have this 20-something-year-old living in his mom and dad's basement, right? And he's going out and he's spewing all of these lies. He's taking facts and twisting them. We even know that he's taken video footage in the past of certain people that he doesn't like simply because they don't agree with his views. And he'll go in and tamper with different footage and actually put that out there as it, like, this is actually what this person said. You can't get any more unethical or lowball or less than ethically desirable behavior than that. And there's no news organization that employs standards like that. So, yes, that business did recently become registered in the state of West Virginia over at Mountaineer Journal, but that's just it. He was forced to do so. And, when somebody lies to you once, I don't know about you, Daria, but if you lie to me once, that's pretty much it. Trust is very difficult to earn with myself, just as it is with you. So if somebody lies to me, and if I'm paying subscription fees to something, and this person wasn't even paying their fair share of taxes on the money that I'm giving them to perform this service, that's a real issue. And they claim to hold the utmost Christian values. Well, I'd like to see what those Christian values are. Can they elaborate? Because none of their behaviors make sense to me. Not from a Christian standpoint.
Yes. So now I want to go on ahead and go through the rest of our group, which I really wouldn't call it a group. We're not actually tied, but it just so happens that we are, like, for example, I am part of course, Pros and Cons, and then, well, I am the owner of Pros and Cons, actually, and then you have Coffee Anyone, which I am the producer of. So it does seem like we're tied. So it does seem like it's a little bit of a group, but really we're not. So I want to go on ahead and set that record straight as well, is that, you know, the Mountaineer News, which, like you just said, is a group to, you know, kind of a partnership that us both, but, you know, the publisher does take care of the majority. Then you have Pros and Cons podcast, which is what you're currently listening to. That is completely funded by myself. That is completely done by myself. I am the one who takes care of this. This is on my own accord. This is, you know, my project, and it's actually been very successful. We're getting, you know, like 1,000 views on just Facebook. Our YouTube channel is, you know, skyrocketing, and I mean, I could never actually be happier because of what everything is currently, how everything is happening. And then Coffee Anyone, which a lot of people are trying to tie into this whole entire thing, is privately owned by Dr. Ali Khan and Spike Nesbitt, and they both, you know, their goal is to bring people together, and I am the producer of that show because I have experience in videography. But that is their own private project. It is not, none of which is tied to another. So Coffee Anyone is not tied to the Pros and Cons podcast. Coffee Anyone is not tied to Mountaineer News. So, you know, I want to go on ahead and, you know, set it straight, because I was looking on Facebook the other day, and people are going out there, you know, stroking each other's ego and trying to say, oh, well, let's follow the money here. Let's do this. Let's do that. I want to go on ahead and set the record straight and say, stop just putting out this bull information and try to seem like you're smarter than you actually are, and try to go on ahead and understand what's going on here, whenever the fact of the matter is nothing is related to each other and each thing is owned separately. So if you want to go on ahead and take my voice and say that none of the things that I just said were true, go on ahead, but it just makes you sound like more of a or makes you sound more what is the word I'm looking for? Ignorant.
Immature.
Yeah. So you can go on ahead and do that, but at the same time, that's just coming straight from me. That is exactly, you know, right here. It was live, but we can't do that now, but because of our internet. But you know, that's just the way it is. So, I mean, I'm sorry to go on ahead and let everyone down that is currently trying to do all the, you know, nitty gritty and you know, try to look in and do all this different types of information and look into everything. Go on ahead and keep on looking, but you're going to go on ahead and turn out that exactly what I'm saying is exactly the truth. So I'm sorry, but you're just wasting your time because you're just trying to go on ahead and attack something that is, you know, you're really just sitting and just blabbering your mouth at that point.
Absolutely. And if I may chime in there, the immaturity level that I see from adults in some circumstances, especially via social media, is quite disturbing. To be honest, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Daria, I wish I had that much time. Because people don't understand. I'm a business owner outside of what we're doing with Mountaineer News. I actually have 3 additional things that I do. This is something that, yes, I'm footing the bill, but guess what? I'm not going out there and, you know, trying to cause trouble with other organizations like some of these others are. We've actually reached out to many of these places, and we've tried to work hand in hand to try to squelch some of the discrimination going on in this area. And we've been met with resistance like you would not believe. So a lot of people who even say that they want to affect change and they want to go out and do things, they seem to talk a big game, and I'm sure they do have good intentions, because we're not referring to bad people here. There are really good people in Buchanan. There are some really good people in the news media outlets in this area. But just their complete resistance toward us and willingness to work with people who are spewing the hate and putting all of that out there, it just doesn't make sense. But one thing I have to say is that when it comes to all of the entities that Daria was just referring to, I am in no way associated with Coffee Anyone. I am in no way associated with the show that I'm being interviewed on right now. Yes, we have different business interests, but, Mayor McCauley is the mayor and he's also a professor at the college. So, are you going to fault him for that? So, there's just a lot of misinformation and things that just needs to come to the forefront. People need to have real information so they can make informed decisions on their own. And when you go out and start skewing the facts and you start putting out misinformation and just flat out lies, all you're doing is just trying to stir the pot. And the question is why?
And you're also setting yourself up.
Behavior?
And you're also setting yourself up for a good lawsuit, too.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I don't think some of these people know the definition of libel and slander, and I think they're going to soon find out. And I think that's one of the reasons why Mr. Calder just recently registered his business after being in business for nearly 6 years. He was taking money fraudulently, didn't even report his business to the state, and is taking income from his subscribers. And anything that you do as a service in the state of West Virginia, you have to apply a sales and use tax, which Mr. Calder obviously was not. And I will say I have to give Dr. Kahn a lot of credit here, and yourself, Daria, because I used to be very soft-spoken. I used to not really speak my mind because I used to, I have businesses. I can't put a bad image out there in the community. But, my morals started kicking in back in November when the library discriminatory thing with Pastor Layfield and everything was going on over at the library. It's not their place to say what's in our public library. We're all taxpayers. And you may actually help some LGBTQ youth who might be going into the library, who might be confused, who might have some doubts about what they're feeling or how they're feeling. And you're going to hold that against them just because you think we're indoctrinating them? Hello, what do you think indoctrination is? You do it every Sunday at your church, Pastor. So that's when I decided to stand up and really start speaking out, because 2 and 2 is not adding up in our community. You have a lot of people out there professing love and Christianity, but then you go on social media, turn right around, these people are having their friends threaten people with death, with murder, and not just the people that are going after them or questioning them. They're actually sending their friends, their families, and we can substantiate all of this. And it's truly amazing to me that you guys started Coffee Anyone, and you were trying to have a format that was open. Didn't matter who you were. Even some of the people who have attacked and threatened us, they've even been invited to come and attend. But guess what? They didn't. Why is that? So if they have such a problem with what we're saying or anything, why don't we actually sit down, come to the table, have a constructive and productive conversation? Why don't we try to make this place better? If I don't like you, I don't have to hate you. I don't have to try to threaten you. I don't have to, try to be contrary every time we meet. If we don't like each other, just smile, nod, and walk away. It's very simple. But for some reason, a lot of people in our area, and obviously, frankly, around the world, they're just not in a position to be adults. And I don't mean to be so blunt about it, but come on. We have to have some adults in the room. We have to have some people making some rational decisions. And when you have a lot of stuff going on, you have this other news media outlet over there at Mountaineer Journal endorsing a couple of candidates out there prior to everything else. It's kind of obvious where the biases are in our community and where a lot of the things are happening. So, but I commend you and Dr. Kahn for basically starting it all. Your concept was very unique in trying to bring everybody from all walks of life together, and that was the premise for what we're doing with Mountaineer News.
And to go on ahead and tie us also a little bit back to like the Pros and Cons podcast and then the Coffee Anyone. So Coffee Anyone is currently on a hiatus because
yes,
between health issues, because Dr. Kahn, of course, works with a lot of patients, and currently with the whole COVID-19, he is doing a lot of different testing and he has to check out a lot of patients. So it's best that we actually go on ahead and, go on ahead and stick back and not, because especially like Spike, he has, some health issues and it's scary. We don't want to end up giving him anything. We don't want to give anyone else anything. So we want to go on ahead and just be, very, very careful. And then another thing is, part of this podcast, I'm not up here, just trying to go on ahead and start spreading crap. Or to go on ahead and start, I always make fun of this, but, go up and say that, Obama is making kids gay or Biden is making kids gay, or go up there and say, Donald Trump is making kids gay. That's not my point here. My point is, if you listen in, you'll notice that the majority of the time, I really don't give much of my opinion. This is probably the one time that I will give my opinion, but the majority of the time, I really don't give my opinion. I go on, I ask questions. I'm sitting here, I'm recording, or I'm, doing it for the people at home, especially right now. A lot of people are at home quarantined. They don't know what they're going to do. And I've gotten many different messages from people where they're sitting at home and they sit at home, they grab a cup of coffee and they listen to the show, and then they tune in and comment some questions in, whatever they would like to, and everything's done live. That's one reason why I do it live, is because then people can go on ahead and chime in, talk about that, and actually have something to do. And, after COVID-19 goes on ahead and passes, if we're still healthy and we're still around, we're going to continue that, and we're going to go on ahead and you'll see, I will give stuff for morning shows. I'll give stuff for evening shows. If you're on the way back or on the way to work, you can listen in. If you're on the way back, you can listen in. It doesn't matter what your situation is. You can listen in and just enjoy, you can enjoy the show. And then whenever you get home, you can turn on Coffee Anyone and see maybe someone that you support, or maybe someone you want to learn more about, go on ahead and explain their point of view. So,
absolutely.
Coffee Anyone is meant to bring people together, not to spread people apart. And people are currently trying to analyze it and go in and try to, get into the coding of everything to try to say, oh, well, it's actually to endorse people. There's no way, shape, or form that we try to endorse people. We invite everyone on there. And our main goal is to go on ahead and bring people together, because all people are doing right now is either fighting, slinging mud, or just producing random crap.
Yes. And our goal here is just to try to be the mediators. We're not official in any capacity or shape or form, but, we're trying to mediate. We're trying to mediate peace. We're trying to, again, it doesn't matter who you are, what color your skin is, what religious beliefs you have or don't. This is a time to where, even especially with the COVID-19 scare, I think people need to get their priorities straight and say, hey, hate does not have a home here. And I'm not endorsing any, campaign slogan or anything like that. But, we're Americans. We all have rights. Just because you don't like me doesn't mean that, you can come after me and threaten my life, my family's life. And that has happened, even from a city council candidate and some of her cronies that she likes to stick on people. And it's very well documented, too. But that's just it. These people do not scare me. I know they do not scare you, because we're in the right. We're trying to basically bring people together in our community. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be the people that threaten my life and my family's life. Let's sit across the table from one another and let's have a productive conversation. I don't hate you. Heck, I don't even know you. But yet, you have a lot of these keyboard warriors out on Facebook this day and age, and they like to just spout off at the keyboard. And it really causes irreparable harm when they do that. All it does is just cause divisiveness in our area. And the more it happens, the more they perpetrate this stuff, the worse it's going to continue to get. I don't want that for my kids. I know a lot of people in this area don't want that for their kids. And, now granted, I started having children late in life, but, I'm very blessed and thankful that we were actually able to have children. So, I'm I'm an old man with toddlers. But it's one of those situations to where, you see a lot of people doing good in the community and you see them actually affecting change in other people's lives. Why diss that? Why go after them for doing good work just because they don't share the same beliefs or, share the same opinions as you? So, and that was the whole premise for what we're doing with Mountaineer News. It's just one of those buffers to try to weed out some of the hate and some of that in this area. And we know we can never, squelch out hate entirely. It's always going to have its pockets. It's always going to have its sex, if you will. That's S-E-C-T-S. So, we just need to get along. If we can't get along, then what is there? Again, you don't have to like me. I don't have to like you, but at least we can be civil to one another. We can treat each other with respect and human dignity, as is our God-given right.
Yeah. I agree. There's so much fighting right now, and I know someone's going to go on ahead and try to comment in and say, well, you're going after Caden or you're going after this. Well, here's the thing. I've tried. I've tried with Caden. I've sat down with him. I've done many different things. This is not me just standing or sitting here spewing out bull. I've sat down with him. There's no getting anywhere. I've tried. So before you go on ahead and start trying to chime in and say, well, why don't you go on ahead and do this? Why don't you sit down? I've tried. I've invited him. I've done everything I can. And he continues to still sling, for a lack of a better word, and I apologize for my language, he still continues to sling shit. So there's no way the thing is, a person can only go so far until they have to go on ahead and stand up. And like my comment yesterday, it's only a certain amount of time whenever a Joker is in a town that Batman has to go on ahead and stand up. And that's where I come into, and that's where we all come into. We're not coming in as these radical liberals. We're not coming in as, these random ass people. We're coming in as people right smack down the center, wanting equality for everyone. And if you honestly want to go on ahead and hate that, go on ahead and hate us for that.
Yes. And I will say, too, and I don't mean to speak out of turn here, but, and I'm not meaning to offend anybody with what I'm about to say here, but I will say that during the city candidate forum that we had that was presented by my Buchanan and the Buchanan-Upshur Chamber, or the Buchanan-Upshur Chamber of Commerce. Sorry, excuse me. I'm still sick, folks. I've been out for a week, but I am getting better for those who are concerned. But I will say, it makes me wonder, Caden is a young man. He really has no life experience. He likes to think he does. He likes to say that back when I was 9 years old, I predicted this was going to happen. Well, come on. What 9-year-old knows that these things are going to happen? It's just, and I have to say that it makes me wonder, and I have to question this, because during the candidate forum a couple Monday evenings ago, I watched very closely the interaction that Caden had with his father, John Calger. And I started questioning who even runs Mountaineer Journal. It seemed that evening that Caden was actually taking direction from his father. As the candidates were actually going through and answering some of the audience's questions, I happened to just from my peripheral look over, and I see Caden's father whispering in his ear while he had his fingers tapping on Caden's leg. And Caden had his undivided attention, and vice versa. And before I knew it, he was patting Caden on the neck. Caden immediately stood up, ran down to the front row, and started taking pictures of Matthew Kerner. So I can only imagine, and then shortly after that, of course, those articles they released that were completely bogus about Matt, and I don't even know Matt really well. I consider him a friend just because of the things he does for our community. He's trying to affect change, There's a lot of stigma about addiction out there and all kinds of other things, and he's trying to squelch that. So he's got his own battles to fight. But it just was very curious to me, the interactions that I saw between John Calger and Caden Calger that evening. And it just really seemed like Caden was just taking directions from his father. Now, I do know that Caden still lives with his mom and dad, which I don't fault. But my question is, you're 21 years old. You proclaim to have this great news organization, which isn't really credited by anybody but himself and his family and his followers. But it's just very curious to know that, there might be more to the Mountaineer Journal than just Caden.
I agree.
So, and people need to be mindful of that. A lot of people have their own agendas, and sometimes, unfortunately, I would never be this person, but a lot of times, people push their agendas through their children, their grandchildren, and it's indoctrination. It's learned behavior. It's conditioning. There's no teenager that I know of in this world that will be talking politics the way Caden Calger has been the last 6 years. So he's, and again, I don't even know the man. I've never even technically met him. And I'm sure he does have good intentions due to his convictions. But that doesn't make what he does right. You can't just attack people because they don't believe the way you do, or namely because they're running for city council and they're not your candidate. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, it's not only that, but, to go on ahead and touch on the life experience. I'm not meaning to go on ahead and toot my own horn, because a lot of people will say, because I'm younger than him, what gives me the life experience of going ahead and, running this podcast? Well, here's the thing. I don't have the life experiences of a much older adult. Of course, Michael is much older than me, and I look up to him because he goes on ahead. He has knowledge of almost everything. My father, everyone else. But it's to the point you have to know your place, too. I mean, I know where my place lies. I would never go on ahead and battle Michael in a life off. I would never do something like that because I know where my place lies, or where I lie. And on top of that, to go on ahead and touch on this, I don't want to, again, toot my own horn, but sitting behind graduating from high school, then sitting behind a screen, screaming into a mic, or, trying to broadcast and try to ruin other people's lives and stuff like that, that's not life experience. I have been blessed enough that, I have been working. I have worked, from, as young as I can remember, doing stuff to go on ahead and help the community, trying to go on ahead and, get involved in politics and, go to college which that's a article that actually is going to be coming out on the Mountaineer News here soon. Going to college at 16 years old, originally accepted at 13. So, I have had some life experience. So I do have some, but I know that I do not have the life experience of Michael or my father or stuff like that. But, and I'm not going up here on the Pros and Cons podcast and, spewing a whole bunch of crap and wanting people to go on ahead and follow it. I'm not going up there and, trying to broadcast stuff and ruin other people's lives. I'm going up here just to go on ahead and try to report what's going on, bring other people on, let them go on ahead and speak, and just talk all around. And, I'm not getting people. I mean, that's another thing. The people that I'm bringing on to here, they might or might not agree exactly the same as me. I don't care. I want to talk to them. It's not, whenever I call someone in, I just call them in to either make fun of them, to try to destroy their life, or anything else. I bring them in to go on ahead and just talk to them and just come together.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Well, and here's another thing, Derry, and you know this just as well as I. If Mr. Calger would like to submit his opinion on Mountaineer.news, guess what? He's more than welcome to do so. Are we going to edit it or make fun of him?
It would be published immediately.
Yes, and there would be no editing. He would be up there with the rest of our community's voices. That's what it's about. He is more than welcome to share his opinion. All he's got to do is send it over. He could even choose his headshot. He could choose anything he wants. We'll publish it. Why? Because we don't care about our disagreements. I don't hate Caden Calger. I don't even know the man. I just disagree with his ethical standards. I disagree with the way he puts false information and a false narrative out in our community. And I think even if we can all start working together, I think we could really affect change. And I think change isn't going to happen until some of these things take effect. And again, the invitation is wide open now. It will always be there. Mountaineer.news is not going anywhere. Trust me. And so, if Mr. Calger would like to submit his viewpoints, even if it's bashing Mountaineer.news, I welcome it because that's what we're about. I don't care what your opinion is. I just want to get your opinion out there. And again, nothing that we put up is edited. You'll see, you might be like, wow, that editor's really bad at editing. No. We're using individual voices. We're not using our own. That's the difference. That's the major difference between what we're doing and what others are doing. What we're providing to our community is unfiltered voices of our community, people who want to affect change, people who want to see change. We have a lot of people who are even friends with the other side, if you will. I don't like terming it that way because that's pitting us against them. But we have a lot of people from the opposition, I should say, that are even agreeing with us. They're saying, hey, maybe we should all get together and actually do this. Maybe we should all sit down and actually have a conversation to see what we can do to try to make life better for everybody, just not for a select few.
Yep. I'm trying to think, what else do we have to talk about? Or are we just about out?
Well, let's see. Do you have anything you'd like to share? I will say my apologies. I know that the Mountaineer.news has not been updated as frequently as we would like. We're working on that. We are not going anywhere. You will see that we have a very unique countdown timer on the website that will actually let you know when to expect new content. We do that because it's kind of news by appointment. It's a very unique thing to our community. And I think it's a good thing that we're doing that because people can know what's coming up and they can actually enjoy the voices and the stories, even if you don't agree with them. There's something on Mountaineer.news for everybody. It doesn't matter, again, if you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, gay, straight. Doesn't matter. We don't discriminate. And that's what we're trying to push here is we're non-discriminatory. We are very open. Even Mr. Cowger has a place at our table at Mountaineer.news.
All right. Well, I don't really have anything else either. I mean, we're at 35 minutes, and this is going up completely unedited. I'm not going to take anything out. So I think I'm pretty much good if you are.
Well, and Derry, I just want to say I greatly appreciate you. I consider you a brother. And, and if people really need to know financials, yeah, we buy each other cups of coffee from time to time. We may not write it off, but who cares? Yep. We've had to have a stockpile of coffee around here for your Coffee Anyone show.
Yeah.
But I commend you. I respect you. And when it comes to life experience, a lot of people say that, you are who you surround yourself with. And I think that, again, going back to learned behavior conditioning, Dr. Kahn is a generous and very caring, loving individual. I've actually never met anybody quite like him. And so you're very fortunate to have him as a father, and I commend both of you. And I thank both of you for being my friends because I really think that what you started with Coffee Anyone in this area really started a movement here to try to affect change and to try to affect change for the better. That way we can have a better community to live in. We don't have to worry about looking over our backs because we don't agree with one another. And it'll be a good place for our children. And that's what it's about. We're trying to make this a better place for future generations, just not now. So why don't we work towards that and put all of our hate and all of our differences of opinion aside, and let's move forward and just look for better days.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, well, I want to thank you for having me on your podcast today. It was quite enjoyable.
Thank you very much, buddy. So I'm going to go on ahead and kind of start taking us out real quick. Make sure to tune in this evening. We are going to have a giveaway of a Coffee Anyone shirt. It's an extra large Coffee Anyone shirt. And one of the cups, whenever Mr. Kerner was here, was not claimed. So we are going to be giving away 1 cup and 2 bumper stickers. So make sure to go on ahead.
Can I have the cup?
I probably can find you one. So make sure to go on ahead and tune in. This is, what is today? March 27th. And go on ahead and tune in tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm going to try to do... Go on ahead.
No, you finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do it as a live. We're going to have to see how exactly everything works out, but we're going to try our absolute hardest to do it live.
Now, I will say, if I may, real quick, Derry, before we sign off here,
Sure,
I just
absolutely.
want everybody to know at Mountaineer.news, please be advised that there will never, ever, ever be a subscription fee. You will never pay for anything on our site. We don't care if it's news. We don't care if it's anything. You're never going to pay or features, exclusives, whatever you want to call them. Our site is always free. It will always be free. You will never pay a single penny for accessing our website. All of the information is there, and it is readily available. And I just wanted to say as well, since the kids are home, and there's a lot of stuff going on, they just announced the school probably wouldn't be going back into effect until late April. We're going to be rolling out this weekend a complete section for nothing but children's activities. It's going to be a place, a complete and total resource to where you can actually go through and spend a lot of time with these educational resources with you and your children. So I think it's going to be a good addition to Mountaineer.news. It's going to give a lot of people information and just good material to share with their children, a lot of educational things, because, again, with the kids being out of school, they need something to stay occupied. We know that television for more than 2 hours a day is not advised. It's not a good idea. So some of these sites and some of these interactive tools will help a lot of parents kind of get by through these hard times with the Corona-19 epidemic that we're experiencing right now. So just be on the lookout for that. It should be up this weekend, but we want to make a nice kid-friendly place for parents to bring their children to and have some good educational and interactive time with them.
Perfect. And with that, that marks the end of our not-so-live broadcast. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and during these rough times, make sure to take care of each other, for that is the only way we will get through this all. Announcer, take me out.
Thanks for tuning into the Pros and Cons podcasts. Check back daily for more episodes. And remember, if everyone around you is an asshole, maybe you're the asshole.